Usher channels Sugar Ray Leonard. Eva Marie channels Roman Reigns. Sheamus channels Kanye West. Usain Bolt channels the Lightning. Greg Green just channeled every stupid move in business history. We'll be talking about these topics and a whole lot more. This is the Beyond Ringside Shooters Gallery. Stay tuned.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
And thus is the cold open. Yes, holy hell, it's a Thursday and we're back. And then some, where everything is on the table and nothing is off the record. In the words of Darrell Waltrip, you better grab those belts and tighten them up one more time. This is the Shooters Gallery, live from Studio One in a multiple location station. Yours truly, the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne. Welcoming in tag team partner, welcome back from the Peach State, Shane Noles.
Oh, I'm so glad to be doing this tonight. It feels like a longer hiatus than it has certainly been.
Like to welcome in tag team partner, also the host of Corner to Corner, although his co-host will say otherwise, Stan Grubb.
You know, I'm still coming down from Charlotte, North Carolina, even though it's been 2 weeks. I'm so glad to be here, and you know what? Screw charter. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, both Shane and Stan were en route to Charlotte, North Carolina for the Mid-Atlantic Legends Fest. Greg Price, one hell of a show. As always, I'm jealous, I'm pissed, but you know something? I had a hell of a time here in Birmingham. I don't know if you caught it, but of course I had the honor of being the MC and the host for the Southern Cruisers Riding Club Rally, especially the Saturday night event where I was also co-host for their live auction, music, karaoke, and it just had a blast. And I will say this before, I've said it before and I'll say it one more time. Steve Smith and the entire crew with Southern Cruisers, you have made some new fans with the cast here at Full Range Entertainment, and anytime, just call. We'll be there, guaranteed. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. First off, well, actually, let me do this. For everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com, the app itself, through ProWrestlingRadio.net, through Ustream this evening, the TuneIn Radio app for all platforms, and so many other methodologies which are out there. Thank you for taking the time out of your Thursday night, early Friday morning, which that'll be here in a minute, trust me. For joining us here on the gallery. And, of course, don't forget the first hour of tonight's show will be available on YouTube on replay, and also the entire episode will be available through the station itself, both stations,.com and .net, as well as through all the various means for replication that are not anywhere remotely related to Star Trek, which I think about every time I say the word replication. I'm going to start on a non-wrestling note. I know we got a ton of stuff to cover. Star Trek 50 years old this year. Personally, it is the same age I am, but damn it, even at 300 years old, Spock looks better than I do at 50. Guys, what can you say? A golden anniversary for one of the most successful sci-fi and entertainment franchises ever. Shane?
Yeah, just when you thought you would be able to utter the mortal phrase, he's dead, Jim, Star Trek comes back with a new film. And I have a friend who is a diehard Trekkie. And I like Star Trek. He loves it. And he was talking about a couple of weeks ago, you know, how Star Trek's new film gets pushed under the limelight because everyone's still in Star Wars mode from this past winter, as well as the new one coming up this year. But I want to say this, the show, 50 years, that's amazing. And the fact that, you know, we still have William Shatner with us and George Takei, God bless him. These new reboots, for all, and I'm one who certainly rips on a lot of reboots and remakes and sequels. The new Star Trek franchise has done really, really good justice to the name.
Stan Grubb.
You know, as far as being a fan of Star Trek and Star Wars, I'm actually going back in time watching old Star Trek, both the TV series and the movies. I watched the motion picture, Star Trek the Motion Picture, for the first time ever a few weeks ago, and it blew my mind just how good it was. So it was really impressive. But yeah, I would agree. As far as the reboot that J.J. Abrams has done, really a good job, and I think Chris Pine really does a fabulous job portraying James T. Kirk. So I really enjoy it.
I've also got to throw this one out there. Chris Pine, the gentleman who's been playing Captain Kirk in these 3 films, I give credit where credit is due. I was very skeptical when I first heard about the original one coming out, the first one of the series coming out. I'm sitting back going, okay, if you're going to do a complete reboot of the Star Trek cast, the Magnificent Seven as I call them, this better be good. So far, the casting has been phenomenal, especially that first one was just, once I got past that alternate reality universe, I was actually fine with it. But Chris Pine, it must be a Kirk thing. Because if you remember, after that was all said, done, and over with, William Shatner's had the opportunity to work with some really beautiful female co-stars, especially T.J. Hooker, remember?
Oh, Heather Locklear and Adrian Smith. Well, not female. Sorry, Adrian, but yeah, I just named off the cast there.
Okay, that was funny. But Chris Pine seems to have that same luck because guess who is going to be opposite Gal Gadot as Steve Trevor in the Wonder Woman movie on the horizon? Chris Pine.
Anytime you get a chance to stand in the same room with that woman, I'm just saying.
I mean, this is how bad it is for me. I have had, ever since it came out on Blu-ray, the director's cut BBS, and I've still not cracked the plastic on it. That's sad, because I want to see if that 3 hour, because everybody knows that extra 30 minutes is just going to make everything else fall into place, right?
No. I've got the DVD. I've got it on iTunes. I've bought it as soon as it was ready. I pre-ordered it. And I've watched the Ultimate Edition so many times now, and I can honestly say that the extra 30 minutes did a lot for the movie. And it should have probably gone into the theaters as a 3-hour film.
Shane, you started to say?
Oh, no, I wasn't privy to the fact that 30 extra minutes were added to this.
Mm-hmm. In the director's cut, in the Ultimate Edition, there is 30 extra minutes in the movie, not deleted scenes, but in the movie. Yeah. Like I said, and, I was actually being comedically sarcastic when I sat back and said that extra 30 minutes. But honestly, based on what I've actually heard from friends of mine, a lot of people like this extended version better than the theater cut. So, once again, one day when I actually have time, I'm going to crack the plastic and watch the damn thing. But let's go ahead and take it a different direction. We are going to tackle a wrestling topic real quick. And you heard some of the ones that are going to be covered a little bit later in the show, or as the show progresses. We got a lot of ground. By the way, I don't know.
Hey, can I say something real quick before we transition to wrestling?
Go ahead.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but my heart was warm yesterday when I read on Rolling Stone that Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar will reprise their 1960s Batman roles for a new animated film that will be released in October.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I did not even know this existed. I'm glad to find this out, and I will definitely be keeping track of it. Speaking of Batman, I have to sit back and say, if you have not watched The Killing Joke yet, you need to.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely great.
I haven't taken it out of the plastic yet, but I have bought it.
This is one that, you know me, I've been raving about the fact that they brought back a lot of the original voices, a lot of the longtime voices on this, and for Mark Hamill to come back, and he said, the money was one thing, but reading the script is like, oh, we're doing this. Hello, I'm in. Because Hamill just makes a great Joker for voiceover purposes. He just seems to get into it way too much sometimes. But, and there's some other stuff on the horizon as far as animation goes that I'm really looking forward to. This is just, before we move on, I'm going to go and throw this one out there. Why does it seem like DC does so much better at the animated side of movies than they do on the live action side? Now, I'm taking certain things into consideration, but I've been saying this for the last few years. Marvel's been kicking ass and taking names on the live side, and lo and behold, DC just seems to be doing better on the animated side. Stan?
Well, it's all a matter of perception. When you look at the film for Man of Steel, when you look at Batman vs. Superman, and now Justice League coming up, Wonder Woman, as far as the new DC universe coming out, I think that they're doing a fabulous job. I think a lot of the reviews that have been going on are coming from either just jaded personalities or people that simply weren't DC Comics fans in the first place. As far as the animated, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. The Killing Joke, you get to these points with comic adaptations for animated and otherwise, and you start to worry that they're going to go too far from the source material. In this case, there were some liberties taken, but you know what? The liberties they took made sense, and it made the story go even better. I really enjoy Mark Hamill as the Joker, to kind of piggyback off what Eddie was saying just a second ago. But, you know, another thing that you can put another feather in his cap is his work in live action as the Trickster, both on The Flash when it initially aired in the 90s
Right.
and now. I mean, he is a tremendous talent. Screw Luke Skywalker, and I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but his work in the DC universe is tremendous. And also, what you have to also give credit to as far as DC Comics is the shows that are on television right now for DC are, I mean, except for maybe Jessica Jones and Daredevil, because I can't get enough of those. They're so much better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You've got Arrow, you've got Flash, you've got
Supergirl
Legends
coming to
of Tomorrow,
CW.
Supergirl, you've got... These guys are doing it well.
Gotham.
And Gotham is fabulous.
Oh.
I was so late to the party on Gotham, but I love that show.
I was on big time in season 1, and then season 2 I kind of started falling off because of my schedule, but I've been able to make up some ground on Gotham, and I'm just like, damn, yeah, let's keep this thing going, and I love the perspectives on that one. Shane, come on board.
For Gotham, I'm excited. Season 3, they're bringing in the Mad Hatter for next season, so definitely excited for that one. One last thing on Caped Crusaders, available October 11th on digital HD, November 1st as a Blu-ray combo pack. We'll find the dynamic duo Burt Ward and Adam West squaring off against classic villains, the Joker, Riddler, Penguin, and Catwoman, voiced by Julie Newmar. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. As far as animation, I agree with Stan wholeheartedly. It's about perception. And I think one of the things, too, it's almost like DC in the last few years is truly getting started, whereas we've had over a decade plus of Marvel pictures to choose from. And I'm like him. I think a lot of critics are jaded. I mean, because, you know, you go back to Blade, you go back before Spider-Man, you know, Marvel's been at this now for about a good 14, 15-year run before
Agreed.
DC really, you know, started ratcheting it up a little bit. But I think DC on the animation side has been strong for about 2 decades now.
Yeah.
And you brought up Mark Hamill and some of the other various roles. I would be remiss if I didn't mention his role as Cockknocker in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Was really, really good. It almost reminded me like the Trickster, and when the lightsaber takes his arm off, he's like, oh, Jesus Christ, not this again.
As long as nobody brings up Corvette Summer, I'm okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, don't tell me you'd forgotten about that.
No, well, I had until you brought it to my attention.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Lord. And I'm going to... okay, I know y'all started to make a reference to it during the opening segment, during the first part of the opening. We talked about it a little bit off air, but of course, you know, as some people try to put on fan fests, abortion, some people actually get it right, Greg Price. Which was Go ahead.
I hate to interrupt. I apologize, but our thoughts are with Greg Price as he is convalescing at home. He's been on bed rest for the past few days, so we hope he gets well soon.
Agreed. I did not know this, and I apologize for being in the dark on that one. I just haven't had a chance to keep up. But
he's only mentioned it like very briefly, so it's not like it's been out there public knowledge.
Right. And because of the fact that I still haven't gone to see Suicide Squad, I'm really not watching timelines that much right now because I know people are starting to come out of that anti-spoiler mode.
You're missing out. It's a good film.
I keep trying to get there. The real world just keeps kicking me in the crotch. Thank you, Ford.
Well, you know, Mark Mabel Bowman, he gives you hell. I listened to him the other day, and he's telling you, you're not going to see it. You were like on your way out the door. And he's like, you're not seeing it. You're not going to go.
Yeah, I got sidetracked. Didn't work.
I'm right there with you, Eddie. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to try to check it out before SummerSlam.
I do have to say one word, and I don't think there's anything else that I can say as a superlative. because it is its own super. Oh, I started to mention FanFest up in North Carolina. Sorry about that. Damn. See, I get sidetracked. I don't have ADHD. I don't have ADD. I have. Oh crap! I forgot.
Careful, if you start taking Adderall, you'll get suspended too. Sorry.
I think it's beautiful they got suspended together. Just gotta say that.
Poetic justice.
Eva Marie suspended. Paige suspended. Alberto Del Rio suspended. Wow. And once again, that's 2 off the SmackDown. And it's like, okay, here's where my brain went when I saw the news about ADR suspension. It's like my brain took what I saw Tuesday on SmackDown and transposed the setup onto SummerSlam. And I'd completely blanked about Cena and AJ. And I'm thinking Cena ADR is SummerSlam. And in my mind, I'm going, well, hell, what are they going to do with Cena now? And Mabo's like, dude, AJ's got Cena at SummerSlam. I said, that's right. ADR had Cena on SmackDown. Son of a bitch. Seriously, that's how out of it I have been the last couple of weeks. Transposition errors. It would not help for me to be an accountant. The basis of transposition errors. But lo and behold, 3 suspensions in 36 hours. Holy crap. How does this happen? What? Do we not know what the approved substance list is? Do we not know what's not on that list that you will get suspended for? I thought that they covered all that with Roman Reigns. Shane?
Yeah, it looked really bad when Roman Reigns was the first guy to get popped in a while, I think, other than Adam Rose. And you would think that would put the entire company on notice. In light of what's going on with Lesnar outside of a WWE circle, you think even more people will realize they're cracking down. It baffles me. I'm like you, 3 in 36 hours. I mean, I would think WWE's wellness policy, for all the ridicule it may take from a lot of people, I would think they do have to make it aware to their talent. This is what is and is not legal for you to take, and if it does show up in your system, you leave us no choice. So the fact that it still happens, you just throw your arms up in the air.
Stan?
I mean, here's the thing. When Adam Rose got suspended, when Roman Reigns got suspended, the substance that they both were suspended for was Adderall. It came out fairly quickly because Adam Rose was so adamant that he had gotten permission or gotten a doctor's note. The problem with what this substance is, and I just got educated to it today. I'm not exactly familiar with their whole list, and I'm not going to take the time to research that. But so I was doing some conversation with Jerry Wiseman and also with Rudy Gonzalez, and just talking to him about the substances. And apparently, Adderall is, while it is a very good drug for ADHD, it is also I didn't know this, but it's also a bit of a party drug. Helps to stay awake all night long and to keep going and keep the party going. So my guess would be that while they know it's on the list, they just don't care, which is sad because you're going to get tested. And you have no idea as far as to the timeline of it. They don't necessarily announce it, I would hope. So, I mean, it's just bad planning, in my opinion.
I'm just running all this through my head. And, yeah. See, I didn't know that it was a party drug.
I didn't either. I mean, that's the thing. It's supposed to be for ADHD. That's the focus of it. That's what it's supposed to be for, to help you focus and to help keep your mind sharp. But apparently, this is something that's been done for quite a while. It sounds to me like another version of, or the opposite of like somas, where now we've got all of these wrestlers and performers that are doing this, and I'm not saying everyone does it. I don't mean it quite like that. But you've got so many people now doing it that it's just a matter of time before everybody gets popped. And who else gets popped before finally they say, okay, look, guys, this is a problem. You cannot take this while you're performing. Now, as far as any studies or any kind of report as far as how it affects their performance in the ring, I've seen nothing. So I really don't know. But as far as how how it's being played off and how it's being approached. Boy, you'd think these people were doing lines of coke before they went to the ring.
What the hell you think this is, the 80s?
I'm just saying, I mean, with the severity that they're treating it with.
Not that I've ever witnessed any... I can't finish that sentence.
Don't start perjuring now. Don't do that.
I just said I can't finish the sentence. I'm not going to say it. I just let it go. In the movie, in the song that I can't stand because nobody ever sings it right. Not that I really know how it's supposed to be sung because I've never seen Frozen. Let it go. Just keep going, Stan.
I mean, it's just awful. Not that Eva Marie is a huge talent, but the way they've been building her on SmackDown has been great. People are getting upset about it, I know, because Becky Lynch is paying the price and all that, and I get it. I'm with you on that. But the problem here is that Eva Marie was gaining momentum as a bad guy. People were like, oh my God, what's going to happen this week? The entrance that she has where you got the voiceover. I mean, it's just real good quality TV, in my opinion. So this couldn't have happened at a worse time for her. Paige has been in the doghouse for about the past 3 months. Started when her and, well, coincidentally, her and Alberto Del Rio started dating. Wow. And Del Rio's a moron. Nope. I'm sorry. Alberto Del Patron, Del Rio, whatever he wants to go by this week. He's probably not long for WWE. He's probably going to be gone soon. And I don't blame him. I mean, I don't blame WWE for saying you're out. Boom, done. 30 days. Hit the bricks.
Shane, do you have a follow-up?
I don't. Stan said it all.
Wow.
And speaking of just...
I agree with you. He's not long for WWE.
And courtesy of Bleacher Report, one of the strangest fights of 2016 is the battle between Conor McGregor and the WWE roster. The two parties have been exchanging blows online and through the media for a week now, and while it's easy to sit back and enjoy the chaos, one person seems to be sighing and shaking his head over the beef. That is Phil Brooks, better known by his ring name CM Punk. The five-time WWE World Champion and current UFC fighter, well, almost fighter, he hasn't debuted yet, 2 more weeks, gave his thoughts on the dispute and had some harsh words for his former co-workers. One of the quotes that Bleacher Report uses, of course, is the follow-up that of course, nobody's using the first one anymore because everybody keeps wanting to blank out all the letters between P and S, which has the... Now, I'm not... If you don't know it by now, I worry. But McGregor's follow-up tweet was, quote, I didn't mean no disrespect to the at WWE fans. What I meant to say was I'd slap the head off your entire roster and twice on Sundays, end quote. Brooks followed up by saying, the thing that shocked me the most about what Conor said was the number of people who worked there who responded to him who should know better, Punk said in an interview with radio station Hot 97. When basically CM Punk, and coming back over to my perspective, once again, thank you to Bleacher Report for the article and the lead-in. Basically, everybody jumped on Conor McGregor for making commentary for what Conor McGregor does best, and that shoot his mouth off. So basically, for everybody who jumped up, and I didn't make a comment on it because I'm sitting back going, he's being himself. Why the hell? I should sit back and say, nicely played. Get everybody on your ass again. So basically, Punk and myself feel that Conor McGregor basically just worked the entire WWE locker room and the fan base for everybody who jumped back on him. Shane, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm like you. It seemed like a very easy trick to bait people. And I know Conor McGregor has a certain stature that other people don't, but it just reminded me of in our business how on social media I see so many workers get worked by people, and they feel the need to respond with outrage and criticism and defending, and you have that with regional. I'm not going to use your word, independent wrestling. You despise. But I'm really surprised that so many in WWE took the bait here. It really surprised me.
Stan Grubb.
I think Conor is doing what Chael Sonnen did for so long that got him as much attention as it did, and I think that it's a natural progression to go from shoot to work, I guess. Not that I really enjoy the terminology, but it's logical. It makes sense. He's just trying to get people angry and cause a reaction. But the thing of it is, once he did it the first time, it was, wow, this guy's really kind of a prick. Can't believe he's saying this kind of stuff. I can't believe it. And then after it gets from that, to his follow-up, then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, cat's out of the bag. But people just kept responding, and myself included, I just felt that it's kind of like poking a bear. If you do it enough, you're going to get that bear to swat at you. And that's what he did. He kept poking, kept pushing, and finally people gave in and started throwing fire at the guy. Doesn't matter? Not really. CM Punk is right, but at the same time, if CM Punk was told, hey, I'm going to give you $4 million to do one match, he'd be back in a WWE ring. And if he says otherwise, he's lying. He may say he hates the business. God knows, and we all know, that that's just not the case. You don't spend your life doing something, your entire life doing something, and then just say, oh, no, I hate it. I'll never go back.
Well, I don't think it's a case of he hates the business. I think he hated the lack of working relationship that he felt was there between him, Hunter, and Vince. Normally, Hunter would be the great peacemaker, as we have seen with Bruno Sammartino, Ultimate Warrior, Medusa Michelli, and a number of people. Because once Vince gets something stuck in his craw, we have seen how long those grudges last.
Randy Savage, anybody?
Rick Rude, anybody?
Right.
Lex Luger to a great degree.
Now, wait, hold on. Now, while his reasoning for Luger was for 1995, you can't tell me today that if they were to induct Lex Luger into the Hall of Fame, that there wouldn't be just horrible, horrible backlash from the fans.
From the fans? Hell yeah, there would be, Elizabeth Hewlett.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly
Ole Anderson?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, man. Ole has sworn up and down he will never
take a dime.
Never take a dime of Vince McMahon's money.
Stan, did you go to the roast of Ole Anderson on the last day?
No, unfortunately I didn't. I wanted to go, and I had talked to Shane Helms a little bit, and his fear was, so you'll have to let me know, but his fear was that Ole would take this roast as not in good humor, but start to respond. And because Ole is who he is, he would start putting some hollow points out there.
I was amazed. It was Sunday morning at 9 a.m., and there's nothing else going on that final day on a Sunday per usual. So if it was getaway day for most people, you understand. It was the most highly attended thing of the weekend. Packed out, standing room only for the roast. And I don't think Greg Price and Roy Allen expected that. I talked to Roy a little bit, and he said, we thought this would be at half capacity. Completely full. And on the dais for the roasters were Paul Jones, Tommy Rich, Ricky Morton, Jim Cornette, Tony Schiavone, hosted by Jim Ross. But Ole, he took it in good stride. I mean, Jim Ross, while we were waiting for him to get in there, he said, Ole's been a heel his entire life, so let's boo him when he gets in here. So you got the entire room booing Ole Anderson, and they wheel him out to the stage, and he hears all of this and shoots two double birds and says, well, F you guys, too. But he took it in great stride. I'm getting to this about the Vince McMahon thing, because I've heard Ole, and of course in his book, talk about when Vince made him the money office. After we all know the story about purchasing the shares away from the Briscoes, and Ole tried to get back and save face, and Vince said, if you'll come work for me, I'll make you more money than you ever made before. Ole told him to F off. Well, he came back the next Saturday, and Vince said, I'll help you make $1 million. And Ole said, F you, nobody makes $1 million. Now, Ole did admit, he said, if I had known how the business would go with pay-per-view and merchandising and licensing, I'd have done it. He said, but you have to remember, in 1983-84, nobody's even thinking that stuff is ever going to, materialize. Mm-hmm. But he said the third week, when Vince brought Linda with him, and Ole just walked up to him, and he said, who's this douchebag? He said, that's when Vince got pissed at him. And he said, you'll never work for me ever in professional wrestling. When he insulted his wife.
Yeah, I mean, you can only get so many times before finally people just say, okay, that's how it's going to be.
I do have to say one line from the roast, and Lord, there were many, but when Paul Jones, of all people, got up and started, and he said, it's really an honor to roast the ones we love, especially while they're still alive. And he said, Ole, I'm sorry we were a couple of years too late.
Oh, snap.
Jeez.
And my other favorite line personally was Jim Cornette said, Ole Anderson is so mean. When he goes hunting, he inserts the bullets manually into the animal. And Ole Anderson is such a grumpy SOB that he went to reform school on a scholarship.
Okay, that was good. That was
There were
good.
some good lines. I'll tell you some more off air. But that was some good ones.
And we'll probably talk about a few more on air. Folks, tell you what, we're going to the bottom of the hour break. Hang tight. The Shooters Gallery rolls on when right after this. Hey, Corey Hollis, how you doing?
This is Country Jack, Corey Hollis, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Larry Goodman, GWH News and Notes, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Dr. Tom Pritchard, and if you want to listen to the best in professional wrestling, get locked in to Beyond Ringside.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
This is Super Cop Dick Justice, America's favorite wrestler, American-born hero. And right now, like a stiff bear hug, you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Motor Fast Eddie Layne as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com.
Hey, half-heads, it's a 3-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrapline Adam Pierce. And just like me, you are locked in Beyond Ringside.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
This is Bambi Weeble with Masters of Ring Entertainment, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Keeping this ride alive on a Thursday night. Welcome back into the Shooters Gallery, where everything's on the table, nothing's off the record, and there's a whole lot of ground to cover. Fast Eddie Layne, Shane Noles, Stan Grubb. Making a reference a little while ago, of course, to CM Punk, and of course, Punk will be in the Octagon making his debut at UFC 203 in the month of September. However, we were making a reference to Conor McGregor, and he steps back into the Octagon this Saturday night, August the 20th. It's going to be a big day for a whole bunch of damn reasons. And, somebody better end up on time. I'm not saying anything personal, Jason Boyd, but don't make the announcement 30 minutes long. We're going to go watch a fight. So if you say goodnight once, don't say it 31 times. Okay? Okay. Right now, Shane is sitting back going, did he really just say that? Yes, he did.
I'm about to go through my cue cards.
See which ones he's going to use and not use. This Saturday night, August 20th, UFC 202 welterweight fight, the rematch. Diaz-McGregor. I am genuinely looking forward to this. Both men have had time to go through full camps. Both men have had time for full preparation. We are set and ready. Will the result be the same, or will there be a different one? Of course, Connor, I don't think this is going to be a challenge for his title, but by the same token, and I think Diaz had to come down a little bit, so they're fighting in at 170. I'm just going to open this one up based on what happened last time, but once again, that's short camps. They really didn't have time to prepare, even though Nate Diaz just looked better than he's ever looked against McGregor. And the height, I think, is going to be a little bit of an advantage. Not much, because there's only a 2-inch reach advantage toward Diaz and a 3-inch height advantage for Diaz. Leg reach, actually, McGregor, in theory, has a 2-inch leg reach advantage. But I'm going to swing it over your way. Shane, do we see a replay of the first fight, or do we see a different result this time?
I am taking McGregor in the rematch for reasons, he was not at UFC 200, the whole, is it a contract issue, am I retiring, is it not, as well as now the comments he's made about WWE. I think he's put himself more out there on a pedestal. I had the pleasure of sitting next to you for that fight at Buffalo Wild Wings in Douglasville, Georgia, and I was amazed at what little bit I'd seen of McGregor. And the early portions of that fight, we were both commenting he's got this one in the bag, and then, man, it just seemed to flip a script for Diaz. But I'm going to take McGregor in this.
Stan Grubb?
I think he's going to make sure there's no questions. I think one of the things that bothered him the most about the last fight was that there was so much question as to how the result came about and why. He's going to make sure those are all answered. I'm going to have to say that I think McGregor's going to win, even though, honestly, I really don't like the guy, and it has nothing to do with his commentary about WWE people. I just think he's kind of a jerk. But doesn't mean he's not going to win.
And for the record, Punk actually took Diaz to win this fight. I'm beginning to, this entire time, my brain has been going, McGregor's been way too quiet. And normally, he's very boisterous, very vociferous, and very open in his commentary. And this time, unless I'm just missing something, unless he's doing it on 4chan or Reddit and not doing it on mainstream media, he's actually been a little bit more quiet than normal. Either that or he's just not getting the press coverage that he used to get or would normally get. In this case, I think McGregor's got this one. I may be wrong. I was wrong the first time. Will it be 2 in a row for me? I hope not. No, but seriously, I think that McGregor's going into this one a lot more focused, a lot more determined. I think the first time caught him off guard and made him realize his own humanity for a hot second there. And yeah, he had to come down off that pedestal, but I think he's trying to put himself back on it. And I think he's picking up where other champions probably had been falling off. So he's not only going to defend the integrity of his championship, but also his right to call himself one of the best pound for pound fighters out there. 2 other matches. I'm looking forward to seeing this coming Saturday night if we get everything wrapped up in time. If not, I'll catch it on replay. Hello, Cody. Talk later. Anthony in the 205 weight class. Anthony Johnson, Glover Teixeira. This one should be a great back and forth. I'm just going to go. I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and assume the two of y'all have not had a chance to really look over the card for this Saturday night. Am I correct?
You would be correct.
Okay. Stan?
Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to go over it.
That's perfectly fine. It's cool. Remember, we all have busy lives who we're trying to take care of. Honestly, I see Johnson pulling this one out with probably going 3rd round. I don't think it's going to go to a decision, but I think Johnson will win this one in 3rd, probably by TKO. Also coming up, this coming Saturday night in the 170 class, welterweight class, Rick Story, nicknamed the Horror, taking on one of my favorite fighters in Donald Cerrone, Cowboy Cerrone. And this one, I think, is going to be a good bounce for Cerrone. I really am looking forward to this one. This one could also go the distance, and I think it might just go to the judges. I've done a little bit of homework on Story. I'm not that well versed on him. Of course, I've followed Cerrone for a long time, and I'm looking forward to seeing Donald Cerrone come back, hit the win column all over again on this one. So once again, that is going to be live on pay-per-view, UFC 202, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Definitely catch it, and I can sit back and tell you for a fact, one of my favorite places in the whole wide world, and I'd say that even if I didn't work there, Buffalo Wild Wings will be carrying the pay-per-view live. Get there early, come hungry, and if you're going to stay for the entire thing, at least order something through every hour of the show, and damn sure tip your bar staff. I'm not even going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it. I'm really not. But I will say this. You're taking up their chair that they would normally turn over 3 to 4 times. Please take care of your bar staff as they're taking care of you. End of discussion. They were making a reference to it, and we've kind of hinted to it and alluded to it on more than one occasion. I'm going to go ahead and bring this one up full scale. FanFest a couple of weekends ago, Charlotte, North Carolina. I envy you. I hate you. I wish I could have been there, but once again, I had a great time down here, and we're talking about different things, so I'm just going to go and lay it out there. The people that you got a chance to meet, and for those who don't know, please come out from under the rock you're living under every once in a while, because the Mid-Atlantic Legends Fest is one of the best one out there. One of the genuine best out there. If you've never had a chance to catch this one, trust me, you have missed out on some great events. That is gospel. Shane, I'm going to go to you first. Some of your personal highlights, people you met, people you spoke to, and you already talked about, I think we talked about it off air more than on, the Ole Anderson roast.
The roast of Ole Anderson was tremendous. To see Ricky Morton get up there and say, Robert Gibson's parents were deaf. That's why we communicated with sign language in the ring, which some of you may know that. So I know Ole's a little hard of hearing, so here's to you. And shot him a double bird right in the kisser, which just got things set off on the right foot, I guess, to let the tone of what we were going to be in for that day. But a good time. I mean, I had a good time. Got to meet Stan Grubb personally and chat a couple of times throughout the weekend. Enjoyed that, and looked like he was having a blast. And that's something I enjoy. I enjoy seeing not only myself and the people I go with, but other people smiling, laughing, joking, marking out, rushing over to buy different merchandise, trying to find time. It's really fun. It's a fast pace, but also an even keel, laid back experience, if that makes sense. But personal highlights for me, meeting the enforcer, AA Arn Anderson for the first time, as well as Tully Blanchard, getting pictures made with those guys. But I do have to say, the highlight for me was Tony Schiavone. And I'll go ahead and drop a little scoop right here. It's 99% confirmed, but having talked to Tony, October the 22nd at Peach State Wrestling Alliance, looks like it's going to be set up for Tony Schiavone to come in and do a question and answer session as well as a meet and greet like he did in Charlotte. He lives in Marietta, Georgia, is the voice of the Gwinnett Braves AAA ball club, as well as the Georgia Bulldogs college football radio network. And that Saturday, the 22nd, is the only one he has open, of course, through the college football season through January. So it looks like we're going to make that happen. And as a special little thing that I know will probably pop Eddie being there, will be the meet and greet Q&A is going to start at 6:05 on Saturday night.
I love it. Okay, yeah, you win. Score, touchdown, and extra point. I don't care. I'll take the ball on my 5-yard line just for that one.
But Stan, you got a chance to go to Schiavone's one-on-one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Who knew that Tony Schiavone was such a funny guy? I mean, I always knew he had charisma and he was, entertaining. But dude, his Q&A session where he talked about just people he looked up to, his opinions on some of the guys that he worked with, as far as more modern, it was hilarious. He was very upfront and candid. He did not have a problem being honest. And that's what everybody wants to see and wants to hear. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I hope I get another chance to really talk with him, because I would love to interview him and talk with him more at length.
And
maybe we could set something up to get him on on one of the programs on the network that week.
That would be beautiful. That would be phenomenal. Yeah. Considering October is a very weird month here for me in Alabama, I think that we could probably, if he's available on a Tuesday, definitely do BT Back to Basics at its regular time slot, because I know that, and I'm just going to shoot straight, kids. Global Championship Wrestling normally takes the month of October off due to extenuating circumstances and scheduling conflicts. So from that vantage point, GCW Radio probably won't be airing in October, so we'll work on that concept. And so Back to Basics should be at its regular time slot of 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. If all else fails, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It just came to mind to me. Yeah, baseball season would be done by then for him with the Gwinnett Braves, so it might be easier not working every night in that 7 to 10 o'clock Eastern time. If he would just have Georgia football on the weekends. So.
Georgia football. Roll Tide. Good.
Oh, damn Tide.
Hold on, and I mean this from the heart to Bulldog fans. I genuinely wish the Bulldogs the absolute best this year, not only in SEC but in their entire schedule. I feel that you've got a great coach taking the helm this year. My hat's off to you. I think that he is going to be spearheading a solid organization for the Bulldogs and their football squad. So once again, even though I hated losing that individual, in all sincerity, I really think that it's going to be an asset for Bulldog football. And yes,
I wanted to say this about Shivani at the roast of Ole Anderson. He was one of the last on the dais to go up, and he said, Ole, everybody's talking about how you were as a worker and tag team. He said, some people forget what a great booker you were. The Black Scorpion angle, the greatest year of my announcing career. This was the sarcasm dripping. It was beautiful.
Who was the booker during Shockmaster?
Dusty.
Dusty.
That was Dusty?
Yep.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I remember the Legends Roundtable on WWE Classics. He thought me Uncle Fred.
Yeah, Tony said, if you thought the voiceovers on Black Scorpion on TBS were great, you should have heard the outtakes. Sting, we're coming for you. When is this fucking angle going to end?
Oh! Damn!
But that's Shivani saying that. I know I seen him on the one-on-one. Talk about being candid and open and hilarious. He wasn't afraid to drop the profanity either, which I had not heard from Shivani, ever.
That would have been priceless in and of itself. Oh, jeez. Yeah, okay. Turning the pivot real quick. Stan Grubb, your personal highlights from Legends Fest.
Oh, man, there's so many. If you don't mind giving me a little bit of indulgence of time.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes to play with.
I get there in Thursday morning. We left bright and early. Get to Charlotte, and as soon as we get in the door, there's Lady Blossom doing her Q&A. Now, unfortunately, we weren't really able to get everything situated before we could sit down and listen. But sure enough, as fate would have it, right after she finishes her Q&A, she's out there who I assume that was her daughter with her. Anyhow, she's out there and talking, and we run right into Jim Ross. Almost literally right into him. But that was just the first of many moments where I'm just jaw dropped to the floor like, whoa, that's Jim Ross. Whoa, that's... And I'm just sitting there. And Brian and Rob are kind of, nudging me. Go say hi. Go say... I'm like, they're talking. I don't want to interrupt. They're like trying to nudge me. So, of course, Jim has to turn off and go do his thing. JR does anyway. And he shakes Brian's hand, shakes Rob's hand, and I'm just standing there just watching them. Just like, hey, look, there goes Jim Ross. So, I mean, that was kind of how it all started. And we get all of our stuff, the lanyard and tickets and everything for the photo ops. And, man, you walk into the convention hall, the room there, and at first you're like, man, what the hell are we walking into? Because, everybody's setting up, they're unpacking and getting everything put out there. And there's this guy who's just standing there, and he's real humble and quiet and just kind of talking to different people. I look over at Brian, I said, hey, there's Jimmy Valiant. So we walk over and talk to him a little bit, gave him our condolences for the death in his family that he had just a few weeks ago. And, he's talking to us, and I'm standing here, and I'm just like, I got no idea what to say.
I study soccer.
This happened like 3 or 4 times. I really didn't know what to say. I was like kind of dumbfounded. Sonny gets there, and that was a personal highlight for me. The guys joke with me about it. They pick on me about it, but I'm honest. 16 years old in high school, I had the biggest crush on Sonny, on Tammy Sitch. And I've always wanted to really get a chance to meet her. I met her a few years back at the awesome wrestling entertainment in Fishersville, Virginia. Another fly-by-night promoter who is now out of business, by the way. But a great conversation with her, made so many contacts, so many phone numbers, email addresses. I actually was outside on Friday, and there's Lady Blossom, Jeannie Clark, and she had been, about an hour beforehand, she had gone running from one of the rooms crying. I have no idea what happened. I didn't ask her. I still won't. But I see her storm out, and then about an hour later, we're outside smoking a cigarette, and there she is sitting with her daughter outside. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to pass up a second opportunity to talk with her. And sat down and actually gave her a cigarette because I think she was out. And I talked with her for about 30 minutes, and that was probably the coolest part, was just sitting down and shooting the breeze, just talking about not really wrestling, just talking about how she was enjoying Charlotte, what was the flight like back from the UK. And then eventually, we get into the conversation. We would love to sit down and talk with you. And finally, the light turns on, and Eddie would be proud. We're handing out cards, postcards, if you will, because we wanted to make sure they stood out. Giving information out there. And, Jim Cornette was such a nice guy. He signed my Midnight Express book, but Stan Lane signed it. Bobby Eaton signed it. We were so freaked out when Bobby Eaton was supposed to be missing Friday night, and then so relieved when he was found only a few short hours later. So we were very grateful for that. Meeting Jim Ross was tremendous. Road Warrior Animal, Jimmy Garvin, who was hilarious in his Q&A.
Yes.
And Rob and I were both just marveling at how he had a plan. He wasn't going to keep wrestling forever. He knew when he got to a certain age, he was going to be done. And so he started getting all of these piloting licenses and endorsements so that he could fly commercial, he could fly private freight. So it was just really cool to listen to that. Going over further to Magnum TA, who again knew that he was going to stop wrestling by about age 30. And just listening to him talk about all of these different experiences blew my mind. But the highlight, definitely the highlight for me on Saturday was meeting almost the entire Queens of Combat roster. Taylor Hendricks, who, oh my goodness, you cannot get much more stunning than Taylor Hendricks is in person. I was, and I am not ashamed, I was marked out and it's smitten, starstruck, awestruck. I couldn't take my eyes off this woman. She was just wow. And very nice, very polite, very talkative. But there again, just meeting that roster and watching them perform. Eddie knows, and Shane, I'm sure you've heard in the past, I'm not usually a huge proponent of women's wrestling because what I've seen of it is, generally speaking, the divas. So it usually gives me a poor representation. Watching Queens of Combat made me a full-fledged believer. And I was just floored by the talent and the heart that all of these women had. Then later in the night, watching Ricky Morton and his son, who, by the way, has a very, very bright future. If he sticks with it, he could be millions of dollars, to quote the Primetime Players. The Fultons, Bobby Fulton and his sons, also did really well. His youngest son, his youngest son is blonde hair, and he's this little stick figure kind of little kid, but he's standing on the top turnbuckle, and he's doing this muscle flex, and he's pushing his finger under his bicep to push it up a little bit. He's flexing at people, telling them to shut up because everybody's chanting, rock and roll. And so I jump up and I'm like, no, you shut up. And it was fun. It was so much fun to just do that. And then later on that night, I had to like track these people down. I'm like, dude, you were terrific. You did a great job. But really, you know what stole the show? And I'm sure Shane will agree, was Action Mike Jackson.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
67 years freaking old. And this guy does old school from all four corners. And does the Ric Flair strut on the last one. Are you freaking kidding me? This guy's 67 and moves and performs better than people in NXT. I was blown away. And he was the most unassuming guy throughout the entire event. Walking past, I had no idea who he was. And then I see he's got a couple of pictures there, and I'm like, well, Eddie's mentioned this guy. I think I know who he is. But I had never seen him work, ever. And he wrestled a guy named Darius Lockhart, and they had a terrific match. I was just really blown away. And Shane, I don't know if you know, but did you know Cedric Alexander was in the house?
Yeah, I saw him sitting around the front row. I was like, God, I wish you were working like you did last year, because the match with he and Peter Casa, 2015, is phenomenal. And I was like, oh, my God, is Cedric going to put on tights? But he was just hanging out.
I was kicking myself for not at least going up and shaking the guy's hand, especially after these past few weeks with Cruiserweight Classic.
I've got to ask you this. On the Jimmy Garvin Q&A, did you not get chills when they queued up Sharp Dressed Man and he did the little dance with the hair flip?
It was cool. It was so cool. He came back the next day just to hang out. Yeah. He was shaking hands and everything. Meeting all of these people was so neat, but it was cool to hear. You know what was really cool was you're hearing from these guys that they weren't just, I got one more in me, I'm going to be back on TV. This was the greatest part of my career. I love it, and I'm grateful. These were humble and grateful people. And it was really cool. Seeing Ole Anderson in the condition that he was a little hard, just because of all of the different matches I remember seeing him in. But that was kind of an emotional point. Seeing Magnum TA also, and he's doing very well, considering. But seeing that was like, it was a reminder of just what these guys give up when they get in the business. What you guys give up when you get in the business. So it was so much fun. I can't wait to go back next year, and we are planning on being back for the full shebang.
Cool. I have to ask you this. How about that finishing sequence between Adam Page and Ethan Case? I came out of my seat.
Dude, I first off, how do you go from RKO to a suplex to a fireman's carry position? And I don't even remember the exact sequence as far as what moves they were.
It was a slingshot over the rope by Page, the flip, caught him with an RKO, shot him off the ropes, almost like a pop-up powerbomb, uppercut forearm to the face, and then, the suplex turning him inside out is what popped me. Oh, dear God.
Guys, do me a favor. I hate to do this. We're bumped up against the top of the hour, so I've got to say it like this. As a lot of you know, and I made a reference at the bottom of the hour, standard practice is the first hour of tonight's broadcast, which we are wrapping up, is available on YouTube. For everybody watching the YouTube replay, remember the complete broadcast episode of the Shooters Gallery is currently available on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio, the app itself, and of course ProWrestlingRadio.net, and you can find it through all of the different podcast sources. Hang tight. Hour 1 is going into the books. We got a lot of ground to cover in hour number 2. For those listening on the live side, stay with us. The Beyond Ringside Shooters Gallery rolls on in just a moment.
This is Harley Race, 8 times NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, first ever King of the Ring, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.